Larry Andersen. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing? I'm real good.
Well, I mean,
What up, LA?
This is the Trey Turner that was promised. I feel like we have seen this year when he's been healthy, and especially recently. It's almost like I'm surprised when he doesn't get a hit when he's up right now.
It's amazing. You talk about on fire. I mean, this is obviously what you expect from him, what we've seen from him in the past. But I mean, right now this is otherworldly. Right now, he's smoking everything. It's great to see, no question.
And yeah, and you said it's not just like he's getting base hits; he is crushing the ball. You know, I mean, he's really hitting. It's been great watching him, and especially with Bryce out, with him heating up, and then Bryce and Schwarber come back. I wanted to ask you about Bryce because I remember we had you on the show the day that they announced he'd be on the 10-day IL, and you were sort of skeptical about the odds of him returning this quickly. So he comes back, he comes off the IL, and I'm a little nervous that he sort of maybe did it a little early, feeling some desperation after the Atlanta series, also with the size of the Dodger series. Any concern from you that he might push to come back a little too soon?
Nope, not at all. You know why? Because that bullet that he hit to Freeman, it popped out of his glove. He went full tilt. I mean, he was all out, right out of the chute. I'm like, oh, no. And I was just literally watching him go down the line. I'm kind of watching, them trying to get the ball, but watching Harper, he was flying down the line, and I'm just waiting for him to reach back and grab the hammy.
Yeah,
I'm serious because, I mean, there was no, 90% or 98%, but he was 100%. Everything he had, he was trying to get a hit there. No question. And the fact that he continued in the game, he didn't have any complications or anything. I mean, no feeling of it didn't appear. I mean, never saw him reach back at all. So I was like, that was an unbelievable test for him right out of the chute. I mean, first at bat, but he passed with flying colors. So to me, that tells me that there's no concern, which just it's baffling. But maybe because he never had the hamstring before, the issue before, he didn't really know. So it might have just been a little small pole, nothing major that it looked like when it happened. Because when something like that happens, if you haven't had it before, you're like, oh, what the heck was that? And you almost react in a scared way.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of scared everybody else. But again, with that, the way we went down the line in the first at bat, I'm like, I had no concerns after that.
Well, I thought when he hit it, and I thought the same thing you did. I told the guys today too. I was like, oh no, here we go. But it makes it very clear, that moment, that there's no way that you can come back and say, you know what, I'm going to go 75%, because you never know when you're going to be in a position to try to have to do that. So it was either he comes back or he doesn't come back, but the idea of him coming back and just sort of easy playing it seems like it would be difficult for anybody to do, but him specifically, it seems like it would be really difficult for him to do.
Yeah, and it seemed though, like in today's clips, the newspaper articles that we get, it was almost like he and Schwarber saying, well, they're gonna ease into things, they're not going to overdo it. But it's like, what more can you do to overdo it?
Right.
So
how about Schwarber with the line drive single, and he's headed to second base?
Yeah.
So.
I think he was at a point where he wanted to prove to everybody he was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. He certainly wasn't taking it easy out of the gate. Yeah.
Oh, forget that. And that's the thing. Like, there's two guys too, though. I mean, when they're playing, it's not. I mean, I've been critical of Bryce at times where he'll hit a ball that he thinks is going out and it doesn't. But that's a completely different thing. This when he's out there and he hits a ball semi in the gap. Harper's going to go for two. Schwarber tried to do the same thing. That just lets me know that everything's fine, and that those guys, the way they play, they're going to go all out. If they got a chance for something to happen, they're going all out. There's no taking it easy. There's no question about that.
Here's what I loved about those guys coming off the IL yesterday and both wanting to play. It's just that they wanted to play in this series against this team. It's a matchup of the two best teams in the National League. The ballpark was juiced last night. It looked like it was close to a sellout.
It was sellout.
Yeah, sellout. Yep. It had a playoff atmosphere. What's that say, L.A.? You've been in these moments where, it's a regular season game. It's one of 162, but some series have a little bit more meaning than others, and when you get the two best going at each other, I was kind of happy to see that they wanted to play last night. To me, it says, like, this means something to them.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, it's coming back and saying, I want to be a part of this. I'm not going to go, half tilt. I'm going all out, and I'm good to go, and I want to be there. And that's what I asked Marsh about it on the post game last night about, what's it mean to have Harper and Schwarber back, even if they don't do anything. But I said, does it do something for you mentally? Just knowing for you other guys that you've got those guys back in the lineup, and he's like, absolutely, knowing that they're there. I mean, and that's the thing. It's like I use an analogy in the post game with Murph about it's kind of like a middle reliever. When you come in a game in a situation, it's like, well, you got the setup guy and a closer behind you, so it relaxes you more, knowing that it's not all on you. Like as a closer, like you've heard the analogy of the tightrope walker with me. That you don't have that fear or nervousness or anxiety. Mm-hmm. You're much more relaxed, and so I think, and it puts everybody else back in a slot that they're more comfortable with, and I think that's huge. The mental part of it, and getting other guys in their proper places in the lineup where they're more comfortable or seem to be more comfortable, and then you look at the bottom of the lineup with Marsh and Marshon and Rojas, like holy cow. I think, was it 8 out of 10 or 10 out of 12 at bats they were on base. I mean, that's huge, and I mean that speaks to me of having Harper and Schwarber back in there, and I think the fact that they wanted to be in there, that's they could have easily taken their time and say, no, I don't want to push it, but no, the time's up. They went in there and they worked their tail up to get back to that point, and that speaks volumes about them, like you said, wanting to be in there in this big series in a playoff atmosphere.
Talking to Larry Andersen, you mentioned Marshon, who has produced since he's been up. He's looked good out there, and there has been some discussion among Phillies fans over the last 24 or 48 hours, the idea of making him the primary backup when JT comes back compared to Stubbs. Do you think his production in this short time makes that a decision they have to make, or do you think it's automatically just Stubbs?
I don't think it's a big decision for him, and I might be wrong on that. But I think, for one, the chemistry, Stubbs is such a big part of the chemistry of this ball club and the camaraderie that they have. But the other thing is, Marshon is playing every day, and we're seeing what he's doing. But he's not going to be playing every day with Realmuto back. He's going to play twice a week. And so can he do the same thing coming off the bench and with his timing and all that? Is he going to be able to keep up the offensive part of it, playing just once in a while? And I think for a young catcher, I think they would. For me, I would think that they would want him playing every day to stay sharp in case there is another injury, whether it's the Stubbs or Realmuto or whoever, that he would be ready to step right in. But I don't think they would want him sitting back and just being a twice a week catcher at the most, probably when with Realmuto healthy.
So Zack Wheeler leaves the game after 5 last night with some lower back tightness, and he said that he had felt it prior. As a pitcher, at what point do you, how do you make the decision, I should push through whatever feels wrong, or hey, this isn't something that I should push through? How does that calculus happen?
I think everybody's different. I mean, some guys have a higher threshold of pain than others, but I think a guy like Wheeler, he's been around. He's 34 years old. He's pitched for a long time in the major leagues. He knows his body better than anybody, better than the trainers, better than the manager, better than any coach. He knows how he feels. And to me, there was a big difference that last inning he threw. His arm slot dropped down a little bit. His velocity dropped down. Now, he did throw a couple of four-seamers at 96, but he threw a couple other fastballs at 90. I don't think 94. I think 95. But when he was throwing 97, I mean, to me, that's a pretty big drop. And then his command was just if you're favoring something out there, or even if you're not favoring it, but you're thinking about it, it's going to affect the way you throw the ball. And so, he knows his body. If I wouldn't want him to go out again after that. If he felt that way, even if there was, I won't say nothing wrong. There is something wrong. He felt something. But even if he wanted to go fight through it, I was like, why take the chance? Because it's affecting your command, it's affecting your velocity, and why give them a chance to get back in it? And instead, turn it over. You got a big lead. Turn it over to the bullpen. Let them do 4 innings of their job that they usually do, or almost always do, and hope for the best with Wheeler. And if he doesn't make his next start and doesn't pitch in the All-Star game, that's a long break for him for that back to get healed back up 100%. So that's the way I look at it. And I want to see him make his next start, but if it's something that's that's going to continue to affect him and it'll linger, then no. For me, it's not worth the second half of the season for him to pitch one more game before the All-Star break.
LA, a bit of a two-part question here. One, Do you think that Jeff Hoffman is this team's closer right now? And what's your confidence level if after the trade deadline they don't go trade for a closer in Jeff Hoffman to kind of assume and take that job and run with it?
Well, I have all the confidence in the guys out there, and I know Jose's had a bit of a struggle of late, but with their track record, the numbers are putting up and what they're doing, I'm confident with all of them. I really am. It maybe a little fine tuning with a couple guys, but for the most part, I don't think we need to change anything. And if they want to make him the closer, Hoppy the closer full time, so be it. I think Albie's all right with that. I think all the guys down there in the pen, especially the late inning guys, are like, I'll pitch whenever you want. If you want me to close, I'll close. If you want me to set up, I'll do that. Or if you want to mix it up, which Thompson seems to be more apt to do, that's fine with them. I think they're on board with whatever they want, and however they're used, they're acceptable to it. And it's not a matter of, well, I got to close. Because the difference between closing and setting up is obviously a big difference in the money when you talk about that. And contract time with Hoppy coming up, he's not worried about that, or it doesn't appear to be. It's just like, if you want me to close, I'll close. If you want me to set up, I'll set up. I'll pitch the 8th, I'll pitch the 9th, I'll pitch this, wherever you want me. And I think that speaks volumes to the way these guys are. Very unselfish bullpen, and I'd love to see that.
Larry, final question. So, Ike and I have voluntarily tied our careers to Jack Fritz. We made the choice. Nobody made the choice for us. Jack, unfortunately, made the decision for Trey Turner that he would be tied to him at least as long as he's in Philadelphia. Do you think Trey Turner regrets having any connection to Jack Fritz, especially when he didn't get to make that choice?
Well, I overheard him talking the other day, and somebody mentioned Jack Fritz, and Turner was like, who?
Who's Jack Fritz?
Yeah,
that's the right attitude.
I don't think it's a real concern.
All right, LA. Thank you, man. Well, dude, I could use another game tonight like we had last night. So if the Phillies ask you, you can tell them to score 10 runs. That'd be fine with me tonight.
Sounds good to me, guys.
All right, brother.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
All right, LA.
That's good to know that Trey Turner's not bothered by it, that he's forgotten you completely.
No, that is good.
Yeah.
Us little people.
Yeah.